Japan was mostly closed to the Western world during the Edo period, as only a few trade activities were allowed. The rest of the foreign influences were rejected. Mizu, a samurai who wants to kill a man named Fowler, is looking for a merchant who can take her to the white man's land. She meets Ringo, a cook who has no hands and works at a ramen shop. She saves him from a flesh trader who knows Fowler, and he is amazed by her bravery and skill. He chooses to leave his boring life and join her quest. Mizu is an onryo, a vengeful spirit to the people of Japan. She is the child of a Japanese native and a white man. Her fair skin and blue eyes frighten people. They're prejudiced against her looks and see her as a beast, not a human. That is why Mizu wears glasses when she is older. The glasses cover her blue eyes. She grew up living as a man, hoping to escape the notice of the one who pursued her and to exact vengeance on the one who ruined her life. Her life was wretched from the start as she was born to a local prostitute who had been impregnated by a foreign merchant. Four European traders had brought opium, guns, and flesh to Japan and enjoyed all kinds of depravity under the protection of some clan leaders. Mizu was one of the mixed-race children they fathered and abandoned, along with her mother, to the scorn of society. The merchants tried to erase their illegitimate offspring by setting fire to Mizu's home, killing her mother in the process. Mizu witnessed this horror and swore on her mother's grave to take revenge on the four merchants. Mizu lost her parents when she was young and had to fend for herself. She was taken in by the blind swordmaster Eiji, who taught her how to craft fine blades. She also picked up various combat skills by watching his warrior clients spar. After many years, she was ready to track down the merchants who killed her family. Akemi is the daughter of Lord Tokunobe and a princess. She has to marry someone of equal or higher rank and power, but she loves Taigen and they even sleep together before marriage. Tokunobe is against their union but finally gives in. However, he changes his mind when Taigen is defeated by Mizu in a humiliating way. Mizu goes to the Shindo dojo to see the master, who is Heiji Shindo's brother. She fights her way through the dojo students and then faces a local samurai Taigen. She realizes that he is the same person who bullied her when she was a child. She defeats and embarrasses him by cutting off his shinyan. The master tells Mizu that Heiji has taken Fowler to an island castle and she sets off to capture him. The episode concludes with Ringo finding out that Mizu is a woman. Heiji, who is aware of the new events, hires the Four Fang, a group of ruthless hired killers, to hunt down and eliminate Mizu. Akemi, the daughter of Daichi, the leader of the Tokunobu clan in Kyoto, is forced to marry the shogun's younger son. But she loves Taigen, who is her secret lover. She persuades her father to accept Taigen as her husband, but he loses his honor after a shameful defeat and is rejected by society. Taigen goes on a quest to regain his honor by fighting Mizu, and Akemi runs away from her father, who keeps pressuring her to marry the shogun's son, to follow her lover. Fowler has a scheme with Heiji, the warlord, to overthrow the shogun and take over Japan's trade, economy, and colonization. Fowler has secretly brought thousands of guns by ship, which will give him a huge advantage over the country's defenses. He plans to use Heiji's castle as his base for the coup. Mizu fights the Four Fangs in a town and defeats and kills them one by one. She knows the leader of the mercenaries, Chiaki, who once got a broken sword from Mizu when he visited Eiji. Mizu hates him for that and ends their old feud by killing him. Taigen finds her, but Mizu is too tired to fight him and faints. Mizu is too tired to fight Taigen, who finds her and challenges her. She faints and he lets her rest, but he is captured by Fowler, Shindo's men, and taken to their castle. They torture him to make him tell them where Mizu is, but Taigen is a loyal warrior and doesn't betray her. Mizu, who has recovered from her injuries, goes to see Madame Kaji, the famous owner of a brothel, hoping to find out how to enter Fowler's castle secretly. However, she is noticed by Akemi, who is in the same town, and recognizes Mizu by the scarf that belongs to Taigen. Mizu realizes that Kaji is not willing to give her the information she needs, so she proposes to kill someone for her in exchange. Kaji accepts and gives her a target. And meanwhile, Akemi, who has joined Kaji's brothel as a worker, encounters Mizu. Akemi angrily blames Mizu for ruining Taigen's reputation and separating him from his love. But Mizu scolds her for giving up a safe life and tells Ringo to watch over her while she leaves to complete her assignment. Kinuyo, a deaf and mute prostitute, was loved and cared for by Madame Kaji, who wanted to shield her from the world's wickedness. But Kinuyo caught the eye of Boss Hamata, the leader of the Thousand Claw Army and a vile criminal, who coerced Kaji into giving him Kinuyo. Kaji decides to end Kinuyo's suffering by offering her a merciful death, which Mizu has to carry out in order to find out where Fowler's castle is. Mizu reluctantly kills Kinuyo, but Hamata soon finds out and sends his men to attack Kaji's brothel. Flashbacks reveal Mizu's past as a failed peacemaker who is badly wounded and reunited with her mother, who had escaped the massacre. Her mother persuades her to give up on revenge and start a new life by marrying a fallen samurai, Mikyu. Mizu and Mikyu grow close, but he betrays her and tells the merchant's thugs where to find her. Mizu fights them off and confronts Mikyu, who admits that he and her mother were part of the plot. He kills her mother and she kills him in return. Mizu then abandons her old life and resumes her quest for vengeance. In the present day, Hamata finds out about the situation and orders his men to attack Kaji's brothel. Mizu defends the brothel members by slaying many of the Thousand Claw Army, and Akemi and Ringo also help her by saving her from a perilous situation. But when Daichi's forces come to take Akemi back home, Mizu lets them go, thinking it's for her best. Ringo is appalled by Mizu's passivity, and seeing her as a dishonorable samurai, he abandons her. Mizu learns from Madame Kaji where the secret entrance to Fowler's castle is and fights her way through foes and hazards to overcome all 9 levels and confront Shindo and Fowler, who have also captured Taigen. But she has overexerted herself again and is powerless as Fowler shatters her sword and brutally attacks her and Taigen. Mizu realizes that she has no chance of winning at this moment. She somehow finds some strength to escape with Taigen by smashing the window and plunging into the freezing bay below. Ringo saves Mizu and Taigen from their fate and brings them to the forge of Sword Father Eiji, where they heal slowly. Fowler, meanwhile, plans to travel to Edo and assassinate Shogun Ito and his family to take over and remake the shogun as he wishes. Akemi marries the younger son of the shogun and navigates the social expectations while learning to assert herself. Madame Kaji and her courtesans come to Edo for the royal wedding, and Akemi hires them as royal attendants, freeing them from the life of prostitution. Mizu reunites with Taigen briefly, but he despises her when he finds out that she sent Akemi back to her father to marry and did nothing to stop the attack on the shogun. Taigen heads to Edo to alert the shogun, while Mizu gathers her strength to face Fowler in a final battle. With Master Eiji's guidance and some self-reflection, Mizu finds her way as she repairs her sword, reconciles with Ringo, and they set off to Edo to rescue Akemi and finish Fowler for good. Akemi learns from Issei, a courtesan who overheard Fowler and Eiji's scheme, that Shogun is in danger of being attacked. She tells her father Daichi, but he reveals a shocking secret. He and his Tokunobu clan have been working with Fowler, and he arranged Akemi's marriage to the royal family to infiltrate and sabotage their defense. Daichi locks Akemi up for her own protection as the episode ends. The scene begins with a memory. Mizu tells her mother's tomb that she was taken by the white man. She says sorry for being a beast and vows to spend her whole life to get even. This links well to the now, showing the extent that Mizu has reached. In the now, Mizu faces Fowler's army, which is ready to fight with the shogunate. Mizu's only goal is to kill Fowler. Daichi, the father of Akemi, reveals his wicked scheme to take over Japan. He knows that Fowler is plotting to overthrow the empire, and he wants him to succeed. Seki regrets his actions and rescues Akemi from her father. They escape with Mizu's help, who fights with them. At the same time, Taigen meets Ringo and tells him he has to warn the shogun about Fowler's army. He asks Ringo to join him. Ringo is torn between his loyalty to Mizu and Taigen's request. Taigen says that Mizu only wants revenge, so Ringo agrees to help him. Taigen storms the fortress and battles the sentries. He finally reaches Shogun Ito and alerts him of Fowler's impending attack. Just then, Fowler's huge and formidable army shows up, catching the shogun off guard. Ito rallies his troops and hands Taigen a samurai blade. Before the clash begins, Mizu assures Akemi that Taigen will be there for her and that he has the potential to be a great man, echoing a later scene when Akemi decides she must be a great woman. Fowler's soldiers fired their deadly weapons. The shogun's warriors couldn't defend themselves with their blades, and the front line was massacred. The shogun's forces kept falling as Fowler's army advanced. Fowler gloated over his easy victory over the empire. The only obstacle left was Shogun Ito, who was guarded by Taigen, Ringo, and some soldiers. Fowler declared to them that he would appoint a new shogun and open Japan to the world of diverse commerce and cultures. Fowler shoots Shogun Ito in the head, killing him without a fair fight. He aims at the shogun's sons, but Mizu intervenes and disarms him with her sword. She battles Fowler's guards as Taigen escorts the others to a safe place. Fowler flees and Mizu chases him. Taigen finishes off Shindo, Fowler's ally. Fowler faces Taigen and Mizu in fierce combat, but he holds his own and escapes again. Mizu tells Taigen to leave her alone, as this is her personal vendetta. She urges him to look for Akemi. Mizu faces Fowler once more. He is annoyed by her relentless pursuit. She sets fire to the buildings and keeps hunting him down. Akemi and Seki seal the gates to trap Fowler's forces. As they leave the gate, a bullet hits Seki. Akemi is heartbroken, but Seki tells her she is free. He dies. He loved her like a daughter, even though she was not his. Taigen reunites with Akemi and learns that Seki is no more. Akemi reveals that Seki's dying wish was for her to escape the royal life. Taigen confesses his love for her and proposes to start a new life together. But Akemi surprises him by choosing to stay. She says that she has always dreamed of being great, and now that she is free, she can pursue that dream. This is a fascinating theme in the story, the idea of greatness. Taigen feels inadequate and unworthy of greatness, but Akemi believes in her own potential. Fowler gains the advantage and strangles Mizu, feeling her bones snap like a woman's. He is shocked to discover that Mizu is actually a woman. He loses his focus and Mizu breaks free from his grip and defeats Fowler. Mizu is close to getting her revenge, but Fowler mocks her. He says he has set the city on fire for the same reason. He wonders if he might be her father after all. Mizu wants to know where the other white men are, so she can make them pay as well. Fowler says she will never find Skevington or Wootley. He tells her that they were the worst of Japan, who sold their own daughters. Fowler reveals that the woman she thought was her mother was actually her maid, hired to conceal her identity until the funds dried up. Fowler is aware that Mizu needs her alive to track down the remaining men in London. The first season of Blue Eye Samurai concludes with the shogun overseeing the reconstruction of the city under new leadership. Ringo is visibly disappointed by Mizu's failure to return. Meanwhile, Mizu embarks on a new journey by sea, with Fowler detained in the ship's hold. Next stop, London.